Grand Rising people, welcome to Advance on Vitality, where we discuss news, tips, and takes on health, wealth, and the world at large. Here's your daily news update. So, starting off, we got a story out of Decrypt about a company called ProShares preparing to file a ETF for the Metaverse. So, of course, with Facebook recently rebranding into the Metaverse, and with the success of projects like Decentraland and Sandbox, we see that there is a demand for ETFs based around the metaverse. If you are not familiar with ETFs, an ETF stands for an exchange traded fund. Now, what these are pretty much like index funds. Index funds are similar to that, in which you'll have a group of stocks all, able to trade as one individual stock. So, like an example, this would be like Vanguard. Vanguard has their own like ETFs. So, according to Investopedia, an ETF is an exchange traded fund. Yeah. So, based on Investopedia, an exchange traded fund is a type of security that tracks an index, sector, commodity, or other asset, but which can be purchased or sold on a stock exchange the same way a regular stock can. So it's pretty much what I said. You can have a group of various stocks being sold as one stock, and it tracks the performance of all of these different stocks, averages them out, and you basically, are earning or losing based upon the trajectory of that ETF. So with this Metaverse ETF filing, we're going to see now that that's like a sector, because you'll see this in different sectors like oil or, electronics or automotive, or, certain sectors will have different ETFs. So this is pretty interesting news. It says that ProShares became the first firm to launch the Bitcoin Futures ETF, and it reached $1 billion traded on the first day. And if you're not familiar with the metaverse, of course, now that Facebook has created their, new name with Meta, and they have now the Oculus, and they're going to connect the Oculus with, a pretty much social media network like Facebook, Instagram, whatever. They're going to take everything and bring it all together on the metaverse. But one thing to note is that Facebook does not own the metaverse, and they cannot say that they're the only ones who have the metaverse, and it's not really a metaverse because theirs is going to be more centralized. It's not going to be a decentralized metaverse. It's going to be more of just Facebook Meta. It's not like you're going to be able to go on Facebook Meta and then while you're in Facebook Meta, immediately go into Decentraland or the Sandbox, or be able to play a game on, a platform that's not related to them. So this is more referring to, a newer version. It's just a more updated version of Second Life. In reality situation, this has been going on for a pretty long time. We have like Ready Player One and Tron and all those like different forms of, if you want to call it predictive programming, you can call it that. If you want to call it, people just predicting, just saying what they think was going to happen in the future, you can call it that too. But, you know, virtual reality has been a thing for a while. They've just been advancing the technology. And, PlayStation Home had came out with a very similar, very, very similar functionality to what they imagine the metaverse will be. And I'm sure that you've already, heard, if you're paying attention to the news and you're looking at what's going on, I'm sure you heard already like what the metaverse is. So just to like refresh you, it's like an online world. It's pretty much like you have your avatar and you can put your VR goggles on and you can be in this different world and doing these different things. And since Facebook already has, Oculus, and they have the games within the Oculus, now they're going to have an experience where you can interact with other people and you can, you know, apparently you can go to work within it. I mean, there's a lot of mixed reactions to this in reality of the situation, which is like ironic me using that term, but it just shows that people are excited about this. The ETF is going to have, as you can see, Apple, Meta, and Nvidia. Nvidia, the company that makes graphics cards, which have been flying off the shelves to the point where people are actually buying them. So that's going to be very important because like people really need those graphics cards to be able to create um, just items and all these different things within the metaverse. Like the overall metaverse, not just the Facebook metaverse, but Decentraland. I'm sorry, I just actually woke up. This is like my first time doing this, so I just told myself that I'm just gonna do it and I'm not gonna just worry about anything. I'm about to get a new mic and everything, and everybody, I'm just gonna improve as I go along. But apologies for the yawning. But anyway, Nvidia is definitely going to be a very important company when it comes to the metaverse and just the creation of the metaverse and the proliferation of the metaverse. So that is going to be very, very important. And based on what I'm seeing here, they're saying that the global metaverse ETF market went up to $2.2 billion as of December 28th. So I guess there were some ETFs that were already out, because they're saying something called a round hill ball metaverse was drawing in $916 million from the investors since the June launch. So it shows that people do believe in the metaverse. They do think that this is going to be a big play in the future. And it will be in many different ways, because in reality, in the truth of the matter is like, you can say that it's the Matrix, you can say that it's this, that, and the third, but at the end of the day, people are going to go into it, people are going to use it, and it's going to be the people who get in early and either invest in the space early, or it's either you're gonna invest your space in it's either you're gonna invest your money into the space early, or you're going to invest your time in the space early by creating, products, items, whatever. So it can be anything. This is what is really going to be world changing about the metaverse. Like, there's gonna be so many different, like, imagine it, just imagine the world that we're in now and everything that's in the world right now. And all of the things that people already have in this world. People have clothes, people have shoes, people have cars, furniture, houses. I'm already seeing these things being, discussed. I'm already seeing people like making furniture, and you see the rise of NFTs. This is what NFTs are going to be in terms of NFT art. This is what NFT art is going to be um, utilized within the metaverse. Is going to, you're going to have people who have, bored apes in their, meta home. Yeah, and like I said before, it's not going to be exclusively with Facebook, or Meta, if you want to call them that, because like they're trying to corner the whole entire thing, because that's not a real metaverse. It's not a real metaverse if it's only through one person, it's only through one party, and at the same time, it's Facebook Meta we're dealing with. So they have their history of pretty much whoring people out and pimping us out, like for our data and our information to advertisers and the government. So we'll see what happens with that. Um, this is a very interesting story, regardless. It's a very interesting story. So I'm rocking with it. We just have to be early. We just have to watch what's going on in the market, watch what's going on in crypto, in the world at large. And next, because it's about to be a new year, so things are kind of slow. But I got some stuff from yesterday too. We got a Mutant Ape Yacht Club selling for well over 500%. Which is, it's like par for the course at this point. If you are familiar with Bored Ape Yacht Club, they've been exploding this year. They were around before this year, but they really shot up this year. They really caught a lot of hype this year. So they launched a new thing called the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and now the sales are going up. And we've seen like a good amount of people get in on this specific uh, NFT series of art. You have people like Lil Baby. You have people like, even like, I think Jimmy Kimmel. You have a lot of celebrities got into the Bored Ape. I think Steph Curry has a Bored Ape too. And that's been great for the people who have been early into this NFT art space, especially with Bored Apes, because Bored Apes were not selling for as much. In the beginning, a Bored Ape would probably sell for like, a decimal point of some ETH, and then it went up to 1 ETH, and now we're talking about, 100 ETH, 1,000 ETH, and it's really crazy. So based on what I'm looking at right here, it says the Bored Ape Yacht Club has seen a 500% increase in trading volume over the past week, highlighted by a single Mega Mutant Serum NFT, which sold for $3.6 million worth of ETH. And the volume for the Mutant Ape Yacht Club has topped $70.9 million over the last 7 days. So people have been moving this. Like, this is the crazy thing about NFTs. They're creating a market within itself. So people are going back and forth and they trade in these things. And ultimately, everybody has, again, NFTs have been polarizing. But the thing about it with NFTs is that it's not it's not just art. It's not just people making drawings and then, they're selling them for $1 million worth of ETH. And then that's the end of the day. Like, within this world that we're in right now, when it comes to, crypto and just the markets, as we start diving into it, because my thing is just crypto. I'm gonna focus on the crypto markets. I'm not really too much of a fan of the stock market, but knowing that those guys are in this market, we're gonna see the same, behavior coming from them into the crypto market. And we're already seeing that, because in a lot of times when the stock market drops, you'll see that Bitcoin will take a tumble and then drop a little bit. And that wouldn't happen before. It wasn't like that before, when Bitcoin didn't have as much faith as it like into it as it does now, where it was so, not lockstep, but just moving in correlation with the stock market. So now we see these guys, getting on board at Yacht Club. And might I mention that even Adidas got in on the Bored Ape Yacht Club. They bought one and then they redid it. They put the Adidas logo on it. So it's like people are jumping into this. Like, major brands are jumping into the NFT art scene. Celebrities are jumping into it. And we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, this is what we want in the crypto market. We just have to know the positive and negatives of what comes with it. Because you see that another thing that we have to note is NFTs and DeFi are causing a lot of congestion for the Ethereum blockchain network. And what this means is that Ethereum is becoming more expensive to move. It's already become like at least 10 times more expensive to trade than it was before. Like the market is so congested now because of that, because of DeFi and because of, NFTs. So that is a double-edged sword in a way, because Ethereum is kind of becoming like a bougie crypto, where majority of the people you're gonna see really using ETH and like getting in on these like plays are gonna be people with a lot of money to move and shake around. But what that also means on the flip side is there are going to be other projects that are cheaper and have cheaper transaction fees, like a Solana, for instance, and they'll have their NFTs. So it's not too late. Now you can still, if you are early, you can find the projects on Solana, the NFT projects on Solana that have potential. So when people start moving and migrating out of the Ethereum network because of this congestion, then you're going to see those projects go up. And I'm going to make a video about my favorite Solana projects. My favorite Solana, my favorite Solana NFT projects. Because I have to clarify, because, you have, Solana also has like other cryptocurrencies on their blockchain. So we call those projects too. But the NFT projects, I'm gonna make a video about that. So that's gonna be coming up, because I'm looking at these projects and I'm like, okay, the Bored Ape Yacht Club has pretty much changed everything. It's complete. It's revolution. It's honestly, it has. It's revolutionized what this is going to be. And there's other projects, of course. You got Fidenzas and you have CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks is the OG. They were the ones who really like laid the mark. But now we're getting to the point where Bored Apes has like celebrities, like, for lack of a better term, aping into it, versus a CryptoPunk. Because, like Jay-Z has a CryptoPunk that's like of him, and, that he's one of the few people that I know that have a CryptoPunk. But since CryptoPunk was like from the beginning, you're not gonna see a lot of people like rush to get that one. But the Bored Ape one, that's fresh. That's fresh in people's mind. They have so many different ones. They made so many different ones. They built a community, and now we're going to see the new projects come up. This is not gonna die. Like even through the bear market, you're gonna see maybe prices go down. Prices may sink. We don't know how. I'm like, it's not financial advice. We don't know how low this market could go. But now when you see stuff like this, when you see that there was a 500% increase in trading volume, and when you see that there's $70 million of trading volume going on not a crypto project, on an NFT, that means that created a market within itself. And when the price goes down, there's going to be people to come in and swoop in on it, because so many people believe in the project now. So that's definitely something to look out for. Next, we have a story coming out of BitMEX. If you're not familiar with BitMEX, BitMEX was a trading platform that really got hit. The feds hit them hard. It was one of the few projects that was really big, but also it was the CEO was a black man. So it was really tough to watch what unfolded with them. But when you moving funny with your money, you're not telling the government what's going on. And that was what was happening with them. What was happening was they weren't reporting, KYC. They were doing a lot of funny stuff. And because of that, they got investigated, and, a couple of them got arrested. And now we have this guy named Greg Dwyer, and it's saying that he bought more time to prepare for his trial. So it says the legal team behind BitMEX's first employee, Greg Dwyer, has managed to buy him more time in his ongoing case with the U.S. authorities. It says on October 2020, the U.S. Department of Justice accused Dwyer, along with crypto exchanges co-founder, or along with the crypto exchanges co-founders Ben Delo, Sam Reed, and Arthur Hayes, which I just mentioned, of breaching federal anti-money laundering laws. Because this is the thing. This is why a lot of crypto companies, as you get into this space, you're going to see that a lot of them are not based in the US. A lot of them are going to be based in like weird, like not weird places, but like places that you haven't really heard of too much, like Seychelles and Monaco and, all these different, like a lot of small islands, like small, like Micronesia and stuff like that. A lot of these places that you never think would like have business like this are going to be gaining business from these crypto projects, because when it comes to uh, creating this in the United States of America or serving investors in the United States of America, you're gonna run into these kind of regulatory, you know, uh, red tape, if you will. You're gonna run into having to make sure your KYC, which is know your customer and anti-money laundering, is on point, and that you're doing it and that you're complying with it. You have to be complying with it. And if they find out that you're not only not complying with it, but you're purposefully avoiding complying with it, they're going to throw the book at you, especially in this country. They're going to throw the book at you. Like, we've already seen this happen with Binance. Binance did everything. They did the KYC, they did all that stuff, and they still had problems with the US. And then they had to pivot over to Binance US, which in my opinion was horrible. Compared to regular Binance, it's horrible. I don't even use it anymore. Like, what I do is just whenever I leave the country, and I can't wait to leave the country again, to be honest with you, but whenever I leave the country, I use Binance. So if I'm in, when I'm in Mexico, I'll just turn on Binance and I use Binance over there because of the IP address. Your IP address is tracked, and if they see that you're using a US IP address, they're gonna stop you. Like, you cannot use regular Binance in the United States of America anymore. And of course, they always use the whole money laundering thing, because this is what they're saying about BitMEX. They're saying that BitMEX was accepting counterfeit passports from Iranian clients and letting them and other criminal gangs launder money through BitMEX. Now, we can go all day about this money laundering stuff, because at the end of the day, they've been trying to frame, Bitcoin as some kind of, money laundering vehicle since its inception. And in reality of the situation, admittedly, there was, Bitcoin being used for nefarious activities. The first time I ever heard about Bitcoin was with the Silk Road, and buying like saying people saying like, oh, you can buy asset off online, and then you use Bitcoin to buy it. And this was like back in like 2012, 2013 type stuff. So you see that's there. But at the end of the day, the US dollar is still the number one vehicle for money laundering. It's still the number one. And the reality of the situation, we can be real enough with ourselves and say, the same people who are talking about, these money laundering laws are the same people who are allowing them to launder money. I mean, we had HSBC, we had Deutsche Bank. I mean, I definitely don't trust Chase and all these other companies. They get involved in so many different nefarious activities that it's like a rules for thee and not for me scenario. But this is not to take away from, BitMEX being put in this position. They put themselves in this position. They allowed themselves to get put in this position because it was at the point where, if I'm not mistaken, Arthur Hayes was pretty up there in terms of his wealth. Like, he was pretty up there. I don't want to say that he was a billionaire, but he was making a lot of money with BitMEX. And I mean, naturally it would be because this is a platform on which you were able to, trade futures and, do all that risky stuff that they just use that stuff. And I used to I tried it and it didn't really work out. But you have some people who try to do Bybit and all those different companies in which you can just start trading on leverage and stuff like that. And it's really risky and it's very difficult to it's a very difficult mountain to climb. It's a very, very difficult mountain to climb. So they were taking advantage of these people, and of course, naturally, you would say that it is a form of money laundering in a way. If you're making so much money doing some criminal shit, trafficking, whatever, and you go on BitMEX and you just piss off your money real quick, trying to buy something on leverage and thinking the price will go up, and then you get cooked and you lose all that money. Then you can say, "Oh, I lost my money," So this, of course, is a very interesting story. It's been going on since at least I think 2019. Yeah, it has. They had offices in Bermuda, and he moved over there. He's pretty much just trying to. This Dwyer guy is just trying to dodge. He just dodging as much as he can dodge it. So apparently now, he has until October to prepare, while everybody else is gonna face trial in March. So at least he was able to, get a little bit of time. He can go and kiss his wife a little extra and kiss his kids a little extra before they bring him in and they grill him. And especially in the scenarios like this, the US government has been going out of its way to really go after crypto crime. And the funny part about it is it's the US government that validated Bitcoin, because when they seized the Bitcoin that was used in the Silk Road, like the exchange, which they knew about from a while. That's why I never use the dark web, and I don't recommend anybody to use the dark web. I would just say stay off of it, because as soon as I've heard weird stories about the dark web, like back then, about how as soon as you go on the dark web, somebody is talking to you, somebody is tracking you, you're immediately getting tracked. They're watching you as soon as you touch that. As soon as you get on that, they're watching you. So anything you try to buy, if you try to buy guns, if you try to buy organs of animals, weird stuff, whatever weird stuff you're trying to buy on there, they're tracking you. The U.S. government is definitely tracking you and watching you. So definitely just stay off that stuff for real. But anyway, they're going after people who are using Bitcoin in criminal activities. It's even gotten to the point where they're saying that the U.S. government has seized how much, they've seized around $60 billion in Bitcoin. And what they do is they seize the Bitcoin and then they auction it off. So if they seize this Bitcoin and then they auction the Bitcoin off, you have to think to yourself, well, they're clearly making money off of it, but they're clearly also becoming players who are influencing the market at a certain point. And that's another thing about Bitcoin, which is crazy, that it's not just, individual, oh, I'm sorry. That was a hyperbole. It wasn't 60 billion, it was 1 billion. So far they've seized actually it's 3 billion. So they've seized $3 billion of Bitcoin, and then they auction it off. And this is what initially gave it that validation, because when I was saying before, when they auctioned off the Bitcoin from the Silk Road, they gave it to Paul Tudor Jones, and then he's just billionaire investor that was a proponent of Bitcoin early on, and based upon this, and they auctioned this off in 2015. It was a minute ago, honestly, that they did this. So when they auction it off, they're saying that it has value. They're saying that it has legs. They're saying that this is something that is not, just pie in the sky. Because if they didn't see the value in it, if they didn't see that it was it holds a certain amount of value, they wouldn't do that. They would just hold it and just be like, okay. So there's that. That's that story. In other news, we have the CIA backing experiments conducted on Danish orphans. I mean, to be honest with you, this is not even. It's like, how can you even be surprised about this? Like, how can you even be surprised when you know about MK Ultra, when you know about the electroshock therapy that they were doing on children, all the different experiments that they were doing on children? It's just crazy. But pretty much what I'm saying is, the CIA allegedly backed secret experiments into schizophrenia on 311 Danish children during the early 1960s, which is something that came out based on a Danish documentary called The Search for Myself. And they're accusing them of supporting the experiments at the Municipal Hospital of Copenhagen. And apparently what they were doing was investigating the link between schizophrenia and heredity or the environment. But this is the stuff, like, where was the consent? There was none. There was none. There was no consent that was being done on this. There was none. Like, it's ridiculous. And you have one person who was involved in the experiments named. I'm trying to figure out if their name is this or if they're just saying, like, as per this person, but pretty much it's Per Winnick. That's what they're saying his name was. And he's saying that they experimented on him as a kid. And like I said before about the electroshock therapy, they strapped him to a chair and forced him to listen to loud noises. So they're pretty much torturing people and then writing notes about the torture that they've done on people. And these are exactly like the MK Ultra experiments that we now know about. That's now declassified. So it's not a no to talk about MK Ultra. It happened. It's real. It's something that really went on. So one thing, this is the world at large. And I'm going to be talking about this as well. These are the things that I have to discuss. So I'll discuss what's going on in crypto, but I also have to discuss what's going on in the world. So again, another scenario of which the CIA is moving real weird. Very, very weird. Um, we also have the U.S. military winning a lawsuit about mandating the V-Pass. So that was something that had a little bit of blowback. There were a couple of servicemen in the United States military who were against um, being forced to take the V-Pass. So now it seems like they're gonna go ahead and do it, which naturally that's gonna happen. Like, most of these judges are not gonna listen to them. Say this, that, and the third, because based on the past, like, 2 years of this going on, it's safe to say that they have effectively indoctrinated majority of the society to just walk in line with the conventional narrative and not really question what they've been, told, and question the honestly contradictory rhetoric that they've been, convinced into believing. So we have a couple of these people who are in the military who are against it, but unfortunately, they're not going to be able to fight it as hard as they want to. And this is the thing. Like, the thing about this is, when you are in a nation, or when you are in a society of people who are being screwed over and they don't want to fight back, you're going to face these issues where, certain things of certain things that just shouldn't be done are allowed to be done. And I forgot who it was, if it was Benjamin Franklin, who said those who seek, or those who forfeit a little bit of freedom for a little bit of safety deserve and will receive neither. And this is the situation that we're in right now. We should have never gotten to the point where we have this situation going on right now, where they're telling people, you have to do this or you can't work. You have to do this or you can't eat. You have to do this or you can't go to the movies. You can't go to a coffee shop. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that we have to even be saying this, to be honest with you, at this point. And we're being railroaded as a people. They're rushing us into this thing. They're making up things as they go along. They're on all levels, whether it's physically, whether it's colloquially. They're making up things. They're using Bernaysian psychology to get people in line with what they want to do, but they're not explaining the long-term aspects and the long-term effects of what they are trying to do. And when you have laws that are being written that say you can't sue a company if you have adverse reactions to this VPass, then why would that, well, why would that make anybody want to use this? When you see where it's coming from, when you see it's coming from three companies with very negative history, especially Pfizer. Pfizer has very negative history. They've been sued for more money than any other pharmaceutical company in the world. You saw Johnson & Johnson. They had that huge lawsuit with the baby powder. The one thing that they're known for, the baby powder. And you see what happened when it came out that women were getting cancer from using their talk. Yet these are the people that we're supposed to trust. Why are we able to trust? Why are we being told to trust these people? And the problem is, people are not seeing what's underneath the surface. They don't know that, for instance, okay, the former commissioner of the FDA, his name is Scott Gottlieb. All right, when he left, he got on the board of Pfizer. So you put two and two together. Who got the approval first from the FDA? Pfizer did. And their stock jumped from that because they have stock, because they're on the stock market. So that means ultimately that people are going to make money when this person or this corporation gets first dibs on authorization, so they can say, oh, it's official. It officially works. And the dangerous aspect about all of this is that, they're saying, trust the science, all this stuff. But science is not something to be trusted. It changes all of the time. And we were never given any opposing argument. You see, it's one thing if you hear an opposing argument, you hear an opposing side, and you are able to find alternatives, and you come to the conclusion within yourself that the VPass is the best option for you. But that is not what's happening. What's happening is they're saying this is the only option. It's like the way they're doing this is similar to like Christianity, where they're saying like, there's only one God, and it's through Jesus. And the only way you can go to heaven is through following Jesus and worshiping Jesus. And that's why Christianity looks so shaky now. And that's why in a nation that people used to say is a quote unquote Christian nation, even though like since I would probably say like the 1970s, where immigration really started to like uptick, it hasn't really been a Christian nation like that. And if anything, it was a large population of Christians and a smaller population of Jews, and a smaller population of Muslims. But now it's more balanced. Things are more secular, and people are honestly walking away from religion. That's what's happening right now. People are walking away from it, but they're walking into this new religion of worshiping the scientific rhetoric that they're being told to worship. And it's crazy that things are getting to this point. So that's what's going on. Those are a couple of news items that I found. Ultimately, the goal is to get better. I'm going to continue to improve. Smash up the like button, subscribe for more, news. I'm definitely going to keep saying that over and over again. And, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.